Good morning, everyone. I hope you are all having a nice day today and are looking forward to the cooler weather this winter. This is CaBi in the cold, how to stay comfortable and confident while biking this winter with Capital Bike Share and other biking resources in Arlington. Thank you for taking some time out of your day to learn about cold weather biking and what you can do to be prepared this winter, as well as what Arlington Transportation Partners, Capital Bike Share, and Bike Arlington can do to help out. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Jake Ryman, and I'm a business development manager for ATP focused on employer and commercial clients. I assist them with improving transportation options for their employees and tenants and connecting them with the transportation resources available in Arlington. Joining us today in the webinar, I'd like to introduce you to Judah Delcas, the program director for Capital Bike Share and Micromobility, as well as Henry Dunbar, equity outreach coordinator for Capital Bike Share. Thank you both for taking some time out of your day to join us and share your insights as we go through the presentation.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Happy to be here. Thank you, Jake.
All right, good to see you guys and looking forward to it. As the weather starts to chill off and the days get shorter, participation in Arlington Capital Bike Program and biking culture in general drops from some of the heights we see in the summertime. Continuing to cycle can have a variety of benefits for you, your employees, tenants, and residents. In this presentation, we'd like to address some of the benefits of biking this winter, the challenges the season presents, and advice on how to continue cycling comfortably and confidently, as well as what resources we have available for you. Going into the benefits of cycling in the winter, many studies have shown consistent physical activity and exercise contribute to a wide variety of positive mental health and well-being outcomes, such as reduction in depression and improved cognition. Cycling itself has been linked to lowering stress, higher reported qualities of life, and taking fewer sick days than those who would commute in other ways, such as driving or taking transit. Cycling in winter specifically can also help address lack of energy caused by lower activity during the season, and time spent outside exercising in winter can lead to reductions in seasonal affective disorder, also known as SAD, and cycling is a great way to do that. Cycling in winter can also help you maintain the exercise gains made during the rest of the year throughout the holiday season. Henry and Judah, you have any other benefits you can give us for cycling in the winter?
Jake, for me, it's always been lower stress and just and keeping my base physical shape over the winter. With the holidays coming up and the consumption of food, and if you do have a lack of a workout routine, then it's hard to get back to that base physical fitness. But for me, the biggest thing is lower stress. Just 15, 20, 30 minutes exercise can do wonders.
And as myself, as a year-round cyclist, many of the benefits of the things we enjoy all year long. For myself, traffic, certainty, and how long it takes me to get places is a little more challenging, but you still have that ability. Also, for those of us that ride the trails, they're a lot less crowded during these times. So we've been seeing a spike in cycling usage during some of the peak times around the DC area now. But winter, I find that oftentimes I will have the infrastructure to myself, which is a little bonus.
Thank you so much. So we've talked about some of the benefits of cycling in winter. Now we can discuss some of the challenges. So why do we see lower participation in cycling culture during the winter? Aside from the myriad of benefits, there are some barriers that lead to lower amounts of people on the roads and trails. These include the obvious things like the cold. People tend to not like to bike when it's cold, particularly when it gets to weather below 40. Weather is also a major concern when cycling, particularly surrounding overcast, rainy, and snowier days. Darkness is another thing that could really impact ridership during the winter. As you know, daylight savings was over the weekend, being that now it's getting darker much earlier, around 5:30 or so, typically when a good amount of folks are leaving work in that leisure time area. This leaves less daylight time for outdoor activities such as cycling. Other things that can lead to lower ridership include rain and snow, causing difficult road conditions that make it a challenge for people to bike in the same way they would in the summer. Icy, wet, and slippery roads fall into that. People are also less willing to go out during this time due to wear and tear on their bikes, fears of rust and letting snow and other gunk build up in spokes and gears. And other challenges include seasonal depression, as we mentioned before, and lack of experience and confidence biking in adverse conditions. So throughout this presentation, we like to provide some advice and opportunities that will help you to keep that biking and ridership up this winter. Before we get into the advice and opportunities, I would like to just share some recent data concerning Capital Bike Share usage through the winter. So as you can see on this graph, here's a breakdown of Capital Bike ridership throughout the last year. As you can see by the graph and table, last year, Capital Bike Share experienced the lowest average ridership around January with about 400 rides per year. The ridership kind of follows along with the season, so really going low or down in the winter and then going to really highs in the winter or in the summer. That being said, it is important to know the Capital Bike Share has broken records for highest usage this year. And now going back into the obstacles. So how do we overcome the obstacles I listed before? Some of the ways to overcome these obstacles and continue cycling confidently in winter breaks down into three categories. The clothing, so what you're wearing, your equipment, how your bike is prepared for it, and general education and knowledge of the resources around you. And we can discuss each of these in a bit more detail right now. So starting with the first major category, which is what you will wear while you're out. Dressing for success is one of the most important ways to stay comfortable when out biking this winter, and proper layering shouldn't require you to purchase much, if any, new clothes. Layering is your friend. So you should be wearing multiple different layers. Your base layer, being the thing you are wearing closest to your body, should consist of a thermal or moisture wicking layer. It's typically important with the base layer that it's not made of cotton or any material that retains water or sweat easily. Synthetic fibers such as those found in thermal and athletic shirts typically work pretty well. Over the base layer, you should wear a fleece jacket or sweater to help protect you from the cold. And depending on how cold and how the weather is, I'd also recommend wearing a windbreaker or a rain jacket over that as well. Remember, you can always delayer if you get hot or uncomfortable. I know when people do physical activity in the cold, and as they keep going, the blood starts flowing, they start to get hotter, and they need to do that delayering. Which is always important to do, and always remember that that's an option for you. When it comes to your legs, you should make sure they are completely covered, but not wearing anything too bulky. Something like an exercise or long pants work great. Yoga pants are also a really good option. You just want to make sure that they are completely covered. As for your hands and feet, protecting your extremities from the elements are also important. So having gloves and good dry socks are ideal, and you can also wear a hat or a beanie under your helmet for a bit of extra warmth. Henry and Judah, do you have any more advice for the types of clothes people should wear if they want to go out biking this winter?
Well, I think you covered a lot of the points. That picture of the woman riding, you notice that she has glasses on. Having glasses or some type of goggles definitely will protect the eyes and help prevent some of the stings in the event that you might have flurries or anything like that that might impede your vision.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Yeah, for myself personally, this is Henry. Really it's about experimentation and being flexible because of the changing nature. Again, things get a lot more variable throughout the day. So again, what your morning commute might be different than the afternoon one. So just be ready for that kind of flexibility. The layers thing is key. And particularly I pay more attention to the outer layer, particularly a wind-proof shell. Goes a long way because particularly a little something oversized that you can bundle up underneath or just wear that as a top layer kind of thing has really been critical. I've also found myself still struggling with the extremities, the fingers and toes. Are kinds of the hardest things to sort of crack the code on dealing with that. So I've got like gloves for every condition that you can imagine. And a lot of that, like I said, just takes time to figure out exactly what, but be ready to experiment and try different things.
One thing I do also want to note with the clothing element is everyone is very different. We all regulate heat differently. So definitely what Henry is saying, experiment, this is a really good base of kind of how to build your layers for biking in the cold, but experiment, find what works best for you. Remember, you can delayer and kind of find what you are most comfortable with.
Jake, I would echo what Henry said with gloves. I have like 3 different type of gloves. One for something that's 50 degrees and something at 40. And then if I'm ever riding below 30, then these gloves have liners, and I'll sometimes use those heat pads.
For me, again, if there's one thing that really just sort of solved a lot of the problems, there are these oversized bar mitts that go on your handlebars too that are really great in the extreme temperatures, and they go a long way. And again, if you just have those on there, you can ride them without gloves or other gloves as sub layers and that kind of thing. But if I had one thing to recommend people that made it able for me to ride year round, particularly in extreme cold, the bar mitts were kind of the game changer in that regard. So I'd also encourage people to ask friends what works for them, and you can also shop used. A lot of this stuff people get a little sticker shock sometimes when having to outfit things that they may only have to use a couple of days throughout the winter. But there are places where you can also find used gear or borrow it. So I'm a big proponent of the buy nothing groups and that kind of stuff for getting these things. 'Cause a lot of people buy things and then don't ever use them. So ask around and see what other people are using.
Jumping into preparing your bike from the cold. So we just talked about a bit about how to make sure you're ready. Now we're going to talk about how to make sure your equipment is ready. So making sure your bike is ready to handle the weather is crucial, as an unprepared bike can lead to damage to both yourself, your property, and increase overall wear and tear on your bike. Some important pieces of equipment your bike should have equipped with you this winter: bike lights and reflectors. These will help you in seeing in the dark and assist you both with your eyesight and your visibility on the roads, making it easier for you to see the terrain ahead of you and for other bikes and vehicles to see you. Most bikes already have reflectors, so definitely check yours and make sure all the reflectors are still attached. Primarily that front reflector and back reflector uh, are there. Fenders are also very important. For those of you who don't know, fenders refer to the protective cover over the wheels. And they prevent water from splashing up on your back as you move forward. Having them can protect you from the elements and help you stay warm and dry. And then the other important element with your bike that you want to take a look at and consider are your tires. It's recommended that you use wider tires with good treads. That'll increase the stability and control you have when riding over wet, icy, and slippery roads. If you don't have access to fatter tires, or you don't have access to swapping out your tires or a bike with fatter tires, you can let out a bit of air of your current tires to increase the surface area and provide a similar effect. Henry, Judy, do you have anything to add to bike preparedness?
That is a very good hint, decreasing the pressure on your tires for more traction on the road during these type of conditions. That photo of the person riding, they do have a front light, and they might not have a back light. I think they're relying on more of those
Reflectors.
reflectors.
Yeah.
Reflectors they're okay. I used to work at a bike shop, and most people will add those LED front and back lights rather than relying on the reflectors. If you ever go to a bike shop, just ask them what do they think of reflectors. They usually recommend the LED lights, and once those are on, there's no need for reflectors.
The bike lights are better because, in addition to help you be more visible on the roads, they help you see better. The reflectors are really only going to help you be more visible when a vehicle is coming by and shining a light on you. But as you get to the darker weather, I would recommend bike lights on your bike in addition to the reflectors.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Also, particularly since a lot of the riding is on trails, there's a lot fewer lights out there, so you do kind of have a responsibility to be a good share the trail kind of user, to have yourself visible to the other users out there, and lights go a long way toward that. My other recommendation to everyone now is getting rechargeable lights, not having to worry about batteries. Almost every model can come, and you can get really good stuff now for under $30. Shop around for both rear and front packages that are rechargeable, with the straps, the synthetic straps, silicone is the word I'm trying to find. But yeah, just strapping to just about any kind of handlebar or frame makeup that you have. So they're very universal, rechargeable. It's great. And you can get some backup lights too in case the batteries, crap out halfway home or that kind of stuff. We just had our big bike light giveaway through Bike Arlington. Fortunately, I think we're out for the year, but a lot of bike shops and other places will have those sort of temporary things that are good in a pinch to have as backup lights.
Going into our third topic with preparedness, it's safety opportunities. So now that we've discussed how to get you and your equipment ready, I want to share some general educational and safety tips. The first and most important thing is to plan ahead. Keep an eye on weather forecasts ahead of time and be aware of the temperature you're expecting. This will make sure you don't get caught out in any unexpected weather events. I typically refer to weather.com as a good accurate barometer for how the hourly temperatures will play out, and plan ahead accordingly with the layers I plan to bring, with what I plan to do. It's a typical good rule of thumb to avoid biking if the temperature falls below freezing, which is 32 degrees. As for biking itself on the roads, it's crucial to tread lightly. Road conditions will be different than they are at other times of the year, and there's a higher chance they'll be wet and slick with the roads will be wet and slick with random icy spots. So be light on your pedal strokes and delicate on your brakes to maintain control. Always know that you can dismount and walk your bike if the paths or roads start to look dangerous and you don't feel comfortable continuing. Also, be sure to be alert and aware of traffic around you. We are shared in many places. If you're biking in Arlington, you are sharing the roads with other vehicles. So make sure you are fully aware of your surroundings, particularly if you're wearing a hat or hood on your helmet, which might obstruct your full range of vision. Henry and Judy, do you have any other safety opportunities we could share?
Yes, there's many bike lanes available throughout Arlington, and definitely have to be aware when you're in the bike lane, especially when there's a vehicle parked adjacent to it. There's many times where the door opens and the driver is not really paying attention to the bike. So you have to be very aware of the person entering, exiting a car. You see if someone turns on the ignition and the lights come on. You just kind of have to be aware of that, and then kind of look around behind you, see if a car is or somebody is behind you, and if you're able to safely go enter the road, do so with caution.
Yeah, my again advice to everyone is about that bottom bullet, just about being alert and aware of everything. Again, conditions can change quickly. And unfortunately too, again, a lot of the road clearing emphasis is on just getting the travel lanes clear. And so as this photo shows, snow is often dumped in the bike lanes. And unfortunately too, it then will at times remain there for days, if not weeks, once it freezes and that kind of stuff. So we may have, warm weather after a snow event, but yet the snow will be present for a long time, and it becomes ice, and it can be very dangerous. So you just need to be alert and aware of your conditions. As you said, be prepared to dismount if that's what's necessary. And also often riding slower than we might normally like to, but as long as we're on our bikes, we're getting to where we need to do, and just have to make some adjustments.
Thank you both.
Mm-hmm.
So here's a breakdown of the average temperatures in Arlington. As you can see, we've talked a lot about how to stay safe in very snowy and cold conditions, but Arlington's winters are actually rather mild. Average temperatures month to month range from about 30 to 50 degrees, with January being the coldest month and it improving as the winter goes on. Arlington also we just talked a little bit about snow on those roads. We do get snow, but it's not too much, and it doesn't often stay on the ground too much longer than a day. And then go ahead.
Yeah, this is Henry again. I can't stress this enough about, again, the patterns in the Mid-Atlantic that we've been seeing in recent years. And one of my colleagues wrote a blog post a few years back about how our winters just aren't that wintry. And for my sake, last year, I think I counted like maybe 10 days that I could call really were kind of winter-like riding conditions. So all of these extremes we're talking about and having to make adjustments for snow and all of this stuff, you can really ride most of the winter months without ever having to deal with any of that, because it'll be 50 degrees and sunny. And it's sort of counting up if you're non-negotiables are I won't go when it's under 32 and I won't go when there's precipitation. That basically blocks out 2 weeks on a given winter. And some winters will go through and not have any snow events at all. Now, for whatever reason that is, we'll debate it, but looking more and more like you shouldn't put all your equipment away and just say, well, I'll pick it back up in April, because you can be enjoying riding on a 65-degree day in January in this region more and more so.
Thank you so much. Capital Bike Share is a great resource for getting out this winter, and I'll let you to speak a bit more on how Capital Bike Share can assist you.
The Capital Bike Share, in the picture, those are the classic bikes, and they have fenders and lights, front lights, back lights, Then we also have the new Cosmos. Those are the e-bikes, and every bike that we have in the Capital Bike Share fleet have great safety features. And so there's no reason why you can't use Capital Bike Share throughout the year.
And they align with, as you mentioned before, they align with pretty much everything we were discussing before. They do have wider tires than a lot of bikes. They have those rear fenders, which will prevent the water from splashing up to you if you're on difficult roads, and they do have all the reflectors you would need. The only thing they might also need is bike lights. Could you correct me on that?
No, they have bike lights in the front and back.
Yeah. Oh, perfect. They have bike lights on front and back. So everything we discussed with the bikes, the Capital Bike Share program has all of those on the bike. So they're all ready to go for the winter. And they are all open year round, regularly maintained and checked.
And 24/7.
And 24/7, yes. All right. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to add to that. This is Henry. The system's only shut down 3 times in I think the 14 years, a couple of hurricanes, and then one big major snow event. But it was only for a few hours, and then we're back up. And remarkably, we saw people riding even when there's like 2 feet of snow around. So the classic bikes in the photo are remarkably well suited for a couple of inches of snow. But we see people out there using them quite a bit. And again, if you want to protect your equipment, you can certainly use ours when there's slush on the ground and you don't want to get your gears and chain and whatnot all gunked up. So yeah, take advantage of it.
Yep. All right. So Arlington Transportation Partners can also provide a lot of opportunities to help your organization, employees, and tenants stay active and on bikes this winter. This includes working with your organization to get a Capital Bike Share corporate membership for you and your employees or any tenants. We can also assist with applying for a bike-friendly business or best workplace for commuters designation for your organization, helping to connect you with more cycling resources and larger communities, and really emphasizing your interest and commitment to cycling year-round. We can also help schedule bike tune-up events for staff and tenants, and we can offer plenty of resources to help guide you and connect you with the cycling opportunities in Arlington. So where to bike this winter? Speaking of cycling resources, I'd like to take a moment to talk about some of the places you can bike this winter. The roads and trails in Arlington are regularly plowed and maintained year-round by the city of Arlington. The Arlington Loop, which is a path that goes around all of Arlington, is a great resource for cycling. All sections are maintained and plowed by Arlington, aside from the Mount Vernon Trail, which is the part that goes along the river. That is maintained by the NPHS and isn't plowed as regularly. Although, as we mentioned a bit before, our winter is pretty mild. So while there is occasionally snow on the ground, it doesn't stay there too long. Another great resource to consider is the Bike Arlington Comfortability Map, which I have up on the screen now. It was just updated this year, and it shows all the roads and trails in Arlington broken down by ease of cycling, as well as showing where all Capital Bike Share docks are located and what you can generally expect from each of those different routes you can take. Do any of you, Henry and Judah, have any other advice on where they could go cycle this winter?
I would say that the Arlington Loop is a great trail. If in the event that the National Park Service trail is closed for whatever reason, you can either just go out and back type of route. But yes, I mean, I live near the Bluemont Junction Trail, and whenever it has snowed, that usually is plowed that afternoon. So it's a lot of people will use it throughout the year, and it's definitely gets used in the wintertime.
Yeah, I would add that our neighbor, the District of Columbia, has actually been doing a very good job too. If it not only just the trails that they clear, but their bike lanes, doing a better job with that. Arlington also has some new protected bike lanes, and they have equipment to keep those plowed and cleared. So some of the unprotected ones, like I noted earlier, do kind of get dumped on occasionally, but we try to work with our transportation departments to get those cleared out as soon as possible. actually in many years with this trail plowing, there've been complaints when there has been snow about the trails being cleared before some of the roads, particularly some of the residential areas. So we've been improving a lot in recent years, and I expect it to get even better.
Thank you both. And as I mentioned before, if you ever have any other things to wonder about that, definitely check out Bike Arlington's website. There are plenty of resources and trails for you to check out and bike on. There are a lot of clubs and organizations in the area dedicated to fostering community around biking year round. One of these organizations we'd like to spotlight is Freezing Saddles, and I'll let Henry speak a bit more about them.
Sure, thank you. This is actually a volunteer run, kind of a grassroots event that happens every year from January 1st through March 19th, as noted there. And about 220 to 250 cyclists form virtual teams to encourage each other to get out and ride as much as possible during those winter months. And every year, we estimate about a third of the people that participate are new to cycling. In the winter, many of them say this is the kind of the push that they needed to get them back on their bikes and to ride year round, as that is to have the camaraderie and the team support to sort of deal with a lot of the issues that we've talked about. How to handle clothing, where do I go, what are conditions like in this part of the region. So your teammates are a great resource for that. They're very encouraging. Many of them have numerous kind of side trips that they do to get people out and doing things throughout those January, February, and March dates. And it's just a lot of fun. They're putting these things together and challenging each other to do fun stuff. There are daily contests that they put online. And then both at the beginning and the end of the event, there's a big happy hour kicked off in a local watering hole, again, to get together to celebrate. And one of the biggest challenges we have in doing that is finding a place that has enough bike parking to handle, usually over 100 people in attendance. So if you ever thought, well, if I just knew some more people doing this kind of stuff, I highly recommend Freezing Saddles as an event to get on board with. Most of it is managed through the Bike Arlington Forum, with the registration kicking off shortly after Thanksgiving traditionally. But you can certainly email me at henry.dunbar@bikearlington.com to get registration information. I can let you know when that goes live. And we've also seen a lot of the sort of the side bets and the kind of the side events migrating over to Facebook and other social media platforms. There's, like I said, daily photography contests of people who can find things. It's just a lot of stuff to get people out. And again, it's a friendly competition, so some people are kind of hardcore, but a lot of folks will just ride, like I said, in the fair weather and that kind of thing. But you get points every day for riding up to a mile. And a lot of people will just do a single mile ride just to keep the continuity of their points going and helping out their teammates and that kind of stuff. So feel free to contact me or just look up freezingsaddles.org, I believe, on the website they built up, and you can see the traffic and notices start to jump there at the later part of this month.
Thank you so much. And that kind of brings us to the end of our presentation. Does anyone have any questions for myself, Henry, or Judah? One question. My company offers commuter benefits program for employees that commute into Arlington office. Does Capital Bike Share have any corporate offers at the moment?
Yes, through the ATP program, there are corporate membership.
I'll note that the pricing structure on that corporate membership too is greatly discounted. So any employer can sign up and be a part of that and get an annual membership for just $50. Some employers will pay all of that or split it with the employee. But it's, Capital Bike Share in general, if I can just speak to, is by far the cheapest major metropolitan bike share system in the United States. Compared to the city bike in New York, which is well over $200 now. Even our full retail price is $95 a year. And the corporate rates start at $50. So it's a deal, particularly for those that ride every single day.
All right. I don't believe I am seeing any more questions. Thank you all for taking some time to hear our presentation, and I hope you're feeling more confident and knowledgeable about cycling this winter. I want to thank Judah and Henry for joining us and sharing their expertise. Enjoy the rest of your day, everyone, and bike safe. Thank you all.